So welcome everyone to the UW Community Arts Collaboratory and what we're offering for MMSD in the 2021 school year. Our agenda today is a quick welcome, and then I'll provide an overview of what we're offering to Madison Metropolitan School District. And each of the three of our four programs will be presenting a little bit more about what they are each offering. And the first 30 minutes will be recorded and shared later. And then we'll be followed by 30 minutes of question and answers, which will be shared as an FAQ following the session today. I want to take a moment to acknowledge some of our program sponsors. All of our programs this year are sponsored in part by Dane Arts, as well as American Girls Fund for Children. So this year, thanks to the gift from American Girls Fund for Children, we are able to offer our Tier 1 at no cost to MMSD elementary school and middle schools. And that entails 1 to 2 virtual modules from each of our programs, Performing Ourselves, Whoopensocker, and Drum Power. These will be available to MMSD through Seesaw and Google Classroom. They will come with no hands-on support, so no time from us. They'll just be available for you to send to your students through Seesaw and or Google Classroom. We are offering this call as a way to sort of introduce those materials, talk about some of our strategies, and give you some ideas for how you might use those with your students. And then today what we're going to talk a little bit more about are our Tier 2 and 3 options. Tier 2 was designed with the Equitable Arts Access Fund in mind and is available for $500 per school or classroom per program. And that involves all virtual modules of one of our programs, asynchronous, so not in real time, support from our teaching artist team for those virtual modules, as well as 1 to 2 sessions of professional development where our team walks you through the materials, talks about teaching artist strategies, gives you ideas for how you might implement those with your classrooms, and or addressing specific student population needs. For example, English learners, children experiencing trauma, etc. This also comes with a strong encouragement to attend the Wisconsin Arts Integration Symposium, which is a community for practice, advocacy, and empowerment around arts integration. Tier 3 is the sort of Cadillac version of what we're offering this year. And in addition to all of the things already mentioned, this would include synchronous time. So in real time, our teaching artists would join teachers in their classrooms. It also comes with professional development sessions, and as well as co-creating what the residency is. So shaping it around your specific needs and collaboratively designing it with your classroom teachers. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Urel. So we'll highlight each of the 3 programs now. Urel, are you?
I'm here and ready.
Okay, great.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about Drum Power. Some of you may know what it is. Drum Power started in 2001 in New York City. Essentially, we're teaching West African, Afro-Cuban, Afro-Brazilian percussion to students, and also trying to take them through a journey around developing life skills. And back then, that's what we called it, and now we call it social and emotional learning. So that work has continued, and the program came to Madison in 2010. Since then, Drum Power has been probably at least 10 or 11 different middle and elementary schools in the Madison Metropolitan School District. And I had the privilege of doing some training with Lori Fellins many years ago around sort of teaching in arts integration and social emotional learning work, and specific to the arts, but also expanding that work to general ed coursework as well. So what students learn is essentially music, obviously, and drumming more specifically, but also we do all our work around our three pillars, which are our core values and also our key social emotional learning competencies. And those are discipline, which we define as using our energy for good things, community, which is supporting our own learning and learning of others in a school context, but we talk about it obviously being a much broader thing. And one of those things that students actually bring knowledge and experience with to the class themselves. So we try to mine them for their own awarenesses and their own expertise where we can, because the goal of all the SEO work is youth empowerment for us. And then finally, leadership is the last pillar, which is doing the right thing, even if you have to do it by yourself, and especially when no one's watching. So we want to just share a little bit about more specifics of sort of what it would be. So if you could move to the next slide, please, Stephanie. So tier 1 for drum power would look like one drumming lesson that's specific to West African traditional music, and I've actually already designed one. We're learning the rhythm kuku, which comes from Guinea, West Africa, and they learn the various what we call accompaniment parts or parts of the rhythm, and then some drum hand technique, which can actually be easily used on the tumbando drums that all the district schools have and all the music teachers have typically in their classrooms. But that lesson also includes how to play the rhythms on home implements. I think in the video I'm playing a stool and what's kind of like a tabletop. So we're expanding it to a virtual context to sort of meet everybody where they are. And then tier 1 also includes a worksheet that we developed on a Google form, essentially, where we walk through thinking about various pieces of social and emotional learning, but starting with just a brief demo. And actually, if you could go back up, Stephanie, because I want people to just get a taste for sort of what drum power is. So if we, well, I guess the video works on the other one. Sorry. Yeah, next. There we go. So this video is a brief video from a show that we did before COVID that was actually a musical, but you can get a taste of sort of what the kids are doing. We can't hear the audio, at least I can't.
And her journey to become a master drummer. The drum spirit sees that she is called by the drum and tells her that if she really wants to learn, she must travel to West Africa.
So that's sort of an idea of what we do generally. I hope everybody can still hear me. But so basically, that's what the drummers sort of present. But we also want you to get an idea sort of how the social emotional learning piece looks. So you see our pillars here, and there's a nice image of them. And we start to we engage students in a dialogue around thinking for themselves around what these concepts might mean to them. So using my energy to forget things, sort of, for drum power students, discipline also means setting goals for things you want to do and things you want to learn. Which goes below do you have for yourself? So, if you guys are familiar with the CASEL standards around social and emotional learning, you know that they're very broad. But discipline for us encapsulates a lot of things, from thinking about positive decision making to also thinking about goal setting, right? So that's why you'd see a question like that. And then we talk about also turning to realize the moment we're in and understand that also a part of discipline for us is self-awareness and checking in with yourself and being okay with sort of sharing where you are emotionally, but also thinking about your identity too. But so in this particular, we have an exercise here where we invite students to create an emotions pie chart, where they essentially list all the feelings that they think they're having at a given moment, and then try to create a pie chart that gives each of them the amount of space based on the amount of feeling that or the amount of emotional space that that feeling is taking up for them. And that's a way to sort of just for them to check in with themselves, but also as a way that parents can check in with students. So that just gives you an example of sort of what the social emotional learning lesson looks like. So for tier 2 for drum power is it would be 3 drumming lessons, probably like what I described for the first, and then for different rhythms from different places in West Africa, and then the drum power social emotional learning lesson. But we also can sort of fine tune that and tailor it to be something that teachers could actually use. So in tier 2, we would love to have the opportunity to actually engage maybe music teachers or other folks that are appropriate, to think about taking that format that we've created for the Google form for social emotional learning and actually getting the responses, having the responses that students submit, and there's flip grids and so forth in there. Those could come actually directly to a teacher, and then a teacher could actually use this as a way to have an ongoing conversation around social emotional work, and social emotional learning. And that would be something that we can facilitate at the tier 2 level. And then also we can conduct 1 or 2 PD sessions just around stringing all of this together, and envisioning what it can look like, and giving teachers some support and some resources that way. So for tier 3 is sort of all of the above, of plus hands-on, actually teaching, possibly synchronously, but with a teacher present. And we have one example of that model at Lowell Elementary School, where drum power has been for, I guess, 7 years now. I'm actually working with the music teacher, and have been since school started, virtually, and we do 1 lesson a week, and we actually are doing it in the music, in place of the general music curriculum. And what we're doing is we're rotating it from each classroom, and actually have delivered the tumbando drums to students, and the drums will actually rotate every 4 weeks so that we can get to all the students in 3rd through 5th grade by the end of the year. So that's a sort of a all on board, all in collaboration, and that's obviously ideal for us, because we're used to being in schools, and really having a hands-on opportunity to work with folks, in a deeply embedded capacity. So that the potential for that is there, and hopefully some of you guys will take us up on it. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Urel. And with that, I'll turn it over to Amanda.
Yep, that was me. Hi, I'm Amanda Farrar. I'm the Education Director at Whoopensocker, and I am here to tell you about what we do and what we are doing in this virtual world. And Jessica Jane, my wonderful and talented teammate, is on and can help you with any questions you may have in the chat while I'm saying things out loud. So what Whoopensocker is we are an arts education and theater program which uses theater to teach creative writing. We work specifically with 3rd and 4th grade. And what we really want to do is to get students to engage. That's our main mission. So getting to engage with their own ideas and each other's ideas. And then once they do that, to celebrate their ideas. So we celebrate students' ideas, encouraging them to continue sharing their good ideas, with our teaching artists responding to student work, and also adapting student work into performances, which is performed by professional actors and musicians, that is now going into a virtual world as well. So in the spring, when everybody went home from school, we quickly pivoted from in-school workshops to our digital lessons, which were shared with schools we had worked with in that school year. And teachers were super excited to have these tools in hand to share with students and continue the work we have been doing with them. So we built on those. So now we have 6 virtual lessons, each on a different writing genre. Those include a general story structure, a picture day, where students don't pose for pictures, but where students select a picture and write a story about what is happening in and around that picture. True Story Day, which is our personal narrative day. Script writing, where we have students practice having 2 or more characters speaking to each other and writing in the structure of a script. Make a Change, which is our opinion writing. And adaptation. So what we typically do in the classroom is getting students together on the last day of our residency to perform the stories that they have written for each other. since we're not doing that right now, what this last video is encouraging students to take the work that they're working on and make it into a performance in their own homes. Each of these lessons will be available in English and Spanish, and lessons are formatted for teachers to easily share with students, and lessons are formatted for students in ways for them to easily engage. Each lesson includes an overview of our agreements, so encouraging positive behavior and believing in yourself and working well with others, a game to physically warm up, a game specific to the writing genre of the lesson, and then example stories written by MMSD students. So they'll be able to see, hopefully, some work done by people in their school or from other schools in the district. We estimate that each lesson will take about 30 to 40 minutes for a student to complete. We've already been talking to schools who are going to use this differently. Some classroom teachers are using them during their literacy time synchronously, but using our tools, and some are disseminating them for asynchronous work on Wednesdays. Both are trying to get students engaged in however they see best for their students. So our tiers of offerings, as Stephanie said, Tier 1 includes 2 lessons from Whoopensocker. Tier 2 are the 6 asynchronous residency lessons and 2 teaching artists for teacher support and response to student work. And Tier 3 would be a synchronous residency that would be developed hand in hand with classroom teachers to support them in their literacy work. As I said, our program goals are to celebrate students' ideas, and that is done through this virtual world, through teaching artist feedback, and our celebration continues through virtual performances. You will see a link on this page for our YouTube channel. You can see some of the adaptations that have already been made for video, and Whoopisodes will be disseminated throughout the year, adapting student-written work for the screen. And keep an eye out for those, because those will include some of the stories written during these asynchronous and synchronous residencies. That is it for me. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Amanda. Mary.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Patterson. I am the outreach specialist for Performing Ourselves, also the dance movement therapist. To share a little bit about Performing Ourselves, we are a dance education outreach program rooted in both dance education and dance movement therapy principles. In the past, we've primarily collaborated with community centers and schools. However, we've recently expanded into, in the last few years, in-school residencies, where I have been doing the majority of my work, working face-to-face with students, collaborating with teachers to develop programs that are appropriate for individual classroom needs. As others have alluded to, we had to shift our programming in the spring. We translated some of our programming into what we called movement minutes. So I think, Stephanie, you can switch to the next slide. Awesome. And this will play in the background while I'm speaking. So we switched to some instructional videos that were accessible at the time on YouTube. We're now hoping to expand those videos quite a bit and develop a further virtual curriculum content. In addition to videos, we will be working to develop worksheets that are accessible through Google platforms that can be shared on Seesaw and other platforms that are being utilized in schools. Also to develop movement response activities that utilize different creative media. So either through drawing, through writing, or through movement video responses. Right now the content is focused. Content areas include as you're seeing here, some cross connectivity. So we're looking at crossing the midline in some of the videos specifically. Other areas include moving in space, low levels, medium levels, high levels, exploring our kinesphere, or as some folks know it as their space bubble. So figuring out how close or far away my body is from myself. And then also moving in time, slow time, medium, and quick time. Areas that we're focusing on within those movement content are development of skills and awarenesses in connecting through movement, so building relationship through movement, developing spatial awareness and recognition, identification of body boundaries, so knowing where my body is and where my body is in space, exploring coordination and balance, working in individual expression, and tapping into some areas of mindfulness practice and mindfulness introduction. We also have 3 tiers. We are developing here. Our first would be our initial modules. So 1 or 2 modules in any of those content areas, such as space or time, and the accompanying worksheets that may follow. In our second tier, we're looking at an asynchronous support through virtual connection with a teaching artist. So that may involve responses to submitted movement response activities or worksheets. And then finally, our third tier would involve our synchronous support. So development of movement workshops or a co-created residency with classrooms and classroom teachers. I also failed to mention Mariah Lefebvre and Kate Corby are on this call as well. They are our co-directors for this program. So if there's anything I've missed, feel free to jump in.
I would just add that, like Whoopensocker, these videos that you're watching, this lovely video of Mary that you're watching right now, will have verbal cues and background behind it. And those will be in English, but also translated. So we're going to be doing the same translation work like Whoopensocker for hopefully lots of accessibility.
Thank you so much, Mary and Amanda and Yarel. And